How does an investment of $13 billion add $260 billion to the industry value? Why do so many experts believe there is an AI bubble? And what exactly does history tell us? We cover all of this and more in my new explainer, What is the AI Bubble, on houseofthings.com. But let me summarize here. Half of the internet says AI is a bubble about to pop and it will take economies down with it. The other half says this is the biggest opportunity of all time. Both are conclusions which we should not buy into when they are about things that we don't fully understand. So here I am trying to understand. The first question, of course, is what is a bubble and how is it created, right? Let me explain. Meet Alice. She runs a lemon shop. And across the street, Bob. He runs a lemonade stand. That's the whole economy of this little town. Alice believes in Bob, so she invests $100 into his lemonade stand. $100, Alice to Bob. Bob's books looks great. He just took in $100 of business. Now, what does Bob need to make lemonade? Well, lemons. And who sells lemons? Alice. So Bob spends that exact $100 buying lemons right back from her. And now Alice's books look great too. She just booked $100 of business. Now Bob reports 100, Alice reports 100. On paper, this little town did $200 of business. Everybody's growing, everybody looks healthy. But how much money ever existed here? $100. Or ऐसे मित्रों, we get a bubble. We counted the same $100 twice. Now nothing in this is illegal. They both did legitimate business. This little transaction is called circular financing. Now, replace Alice and Bob with the real characters of our AI story. There are four. First, chip makers like Nvidia and AMD. These companies supply GPUs, essential chips without which AI can't process your 5-page document with 20,000 words. Second, hyperscalers like AWS, Oracle, Google, which operate huge data centers and rent out GPUs, without which AI products cannot reach its users. Third, the model companies themselves, like OpenAI and Anthropic, who actually build these AI products and consume the services of players like Nvidia and Oracle to run them. Fourth, neoclouds like CoreWeave, Lambda, who are challengers to hyperscalers like AWS and Oracle. They also rent out servers, but positioning themselves as more curated for AI ops. They have borrowed heavily from Nvidia to buy their chips and rent them out. Now let's see how all four of these are tangled into each other financially and what seems like a bubble. Now let me show you how $13 billion turn into $260 billion valuation. Microsoft was one of the early supporters of OpenAI. Over the course of 2019 to 2023, it invested around $13 billion into OpenAI. In return, OpenAI committed to buy at least $250 billion worth of compute from Microsoft Azure, making the industry valuation close to $260 billion. You see, it's committed for the future. Lots of things can happen. ChatGPT can have no money. There can be other companies which demand compute, etc., etc. There are lots of deals like these in the AI sector. You can track it step by step on houseofthings.com. But here, let's see how it pans out fully. See, close to $1 trillion in valuation of AI industry, but only 1/5 seems to be existing actually. Over the last 10 years, close to $1 trillion of activity has been booked in AI. It currently constitutes 30% of S&P 500. AI industry has taken over lots of land to build data centers. It employs thousands of employees. This is what concerns non-technical financial experts. A technical argument can be made that this is the only way we can finance AI. That if we don't do it like this, AI will simply be unaffordable for its users. But first, we need to see the financial argument because it comes from experience. We have seen this exact pattern before in 1999, what is famously called the dot-com bubble now. The story looked suspiciously similar. It was the advent of internet. We knew internet was going to be big. The characters then were first the equipment makers like Lucent, Nortel, Cisco, companies that made and sold routers, switches, things which are commonplace today and was the plumbing for internet infrastructure. Carriers like Quest and WorldCom, they laid the long distance fiber, which is the base technology that is used to distribute internet across the globe. Competitive local exchange carriers like Binstar and Northpoint, they were introduced as the new telecoms, which would deliver messages and voice over signals instead of copper wires. Highly leveraged players who would take a lot of debt from the equipment makers. Let's see what happened to them. Now, I'm sure you get where the nervousness is coming from. But there were triggers to the dot-com crash, which I have covered in much more detail in houseofthings.com. But here I would like to highlight three. One, all internet and technology companies missed their targets. They took the Y2K demand and projected that for their growth revenues. Y2K went uneventful. The demand for their services never came back. Second, the loop broke. The new telecom companies went bankrupt. They couldn't pay back loans to the gear makers like Nortel. So, in turn, the gear makers went bankrupt. Third, and I think the most important bit, the internet adoption didn't happen at the pace it was expected to. At the 1999 peak, only about 7% of the fiber laid in United States was carrying any traffic. The entire telecom build out was for a future that hadn't arrived yet. That brings me back to our technical argument today. Today, the demand is real. Open ChatGPT during business hours and you will hit usage limits. Claude has rate caps. The demand for compute is real, immediate, and growing faster than the build out. That's the one thing 2026 looks unambiguously different on. So, a bubble burst and its seemingly negative fallout, according to me at least, is overstated. But we do need to watch out for lending patterns of Nvidia and the players it's supporting. Visit the link in description to check out the full explainer houseofthings.com where I cover this in way more detail, including even by event breakdown of how the present and the past bubble panned out. What was the triggers last time and what should we watch out for now?